Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. Coming up, Gentleman Junkie Knife Boy. That's a Tucson TS1C. Whole bunch of new knives that have kind of come across the desk or that I got whilst down in Texas. And I haven't seen you since then. So we're going to take a look at a bunch of that stuff. And yeah, man, I'm really excited. And I'm going to tell you what my latest knife obsession is right off the bat. You probably know what it is. Actually, I'm going to hold back. Maybe you should guess. It's more of a type than it is an actual knife. Ground Fog, good to see you here, sir. We have Ground Fog with us on Thursday Night Knives. Tonight, I'm going cup and saucer, guys. Old school. Fernando Salome, good to have you here. Evening, Knife Junkies, he says. Love this gathering. Today, I'm carrying my new Microtech Amphibian. Oh, my God. I have to get one of those. Apocalyptic finish. Love it. To me, that's one of those knives that really has me excited, much like the one I'll show you during tonight's pocket check, and a lot like the Emerson Commander. Just reminds me of that, and I love that blade shape. Pat D's Nuts, good to have you here, Pat. Hoping I can stay awake for my Thursday night therapy session. Hey, man, it's all good. If you fall asleep during it, you'll absorb it without any consciousness, man. Getting in the way, bro. It'll all go straight in. Pleasure to see you, sir. I have a Civivi knife that's new to me that I know you have, Dave, that I am digging. I'm sure you know which one it is. This old sword says, lately obsessed with small tactical fixed blades. Oh, my God. Yeah. That's one of those ones that kind of doesn't go away, especially if you are a daily carrier of fixed blade knives. It's kind of like a Bowie. It's not going anywhere. Pete Davidson, good to have you here, Pete. Good day, Knife Junkies, he says. Ready for another hit of knife crack. Ooh. That's good. Okay. Well, since you bring up knife crack, this is what we're giving away to a Gentleman Junkie tonight. This came to me courtesy of Dave, who's got just the most incredible knife collection. Check him out if you don't already at This Old Sword. Robert, good to have you here. Robert Douglas, evening, fellas, he says. Evening to you, good sir. This really cool militaristic looking knife is the TS-175. That's D2 blade steel. That's 4 inches. You got a nice, generous choil, a great fuller, a contoured G10 handle with sort of a with a frag pattern. And G10, you got thumb studs, you've got a flipper, you've got this thing fuller. This thing is really cool. I say this, Dave sends, but this is a hard one not to adopt, at least for a while. But it's not mine. It should move along to a Gentleman Junkie. Beautiful. All right, so we're going to be giving that away shortly. Let me set that down. Don't know how I got off on that little jag, but yes, that'll be sweet. Craig Vincent, nice to have you here, Craig. He says, good evening, Knife Junkies. Good evening to you, sir. Look at the pinky. Civilized. Chris Blade Ogre, nice to have you here, sir. Blade Ogre. I have a knife here that's new to me, actually, and I think I saw it in your feed somewhat recently. I'll show you that in a second. Will B, nice to have you here with us, Will. Were you carrying your Nova 1? I want to know, because I was, but we'll talk about that in a second. Robert Douglas says, it's funny, I don't have one anymore, just always an appreciation for knives and all that entails. I love hearing it. There's so much to appreciate about them, least of which is what they can do. Byron Kennedy, good to have you here, Byron. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. He says, Thursday Night Knives before Turkey Day. Yes, indeed. And as you know, I will be holidaying on next Thursday Night Knives, as I do every Thursday, which is Thanksgiving, you know. You wouldn't want to see me at 10 o'clock on Thanksgiving night. Pat D's Nuts says, Bob, Jim, and my peeps. And, oh, that's applause or a wave? whatever it is, it's great to have you. Brian Malinsky, howdy, friend, he says. Well, howdy to you, good sir. You got to check out this week's interview. It is with Brian, who is with us here this very same night. And we have a great conversation. As a matter of fact, I got to work today, and I was closing some tabs, and I saw Brian Malinsky's page, and I was like, ooh, those folders, they're unreal. Yeah, go check them out. Brian Malinsky on Instagram. Infidels Unlimited. Good to have you here. Greetings, Earthlings and fellow knife nerds, he says. We do have a bunch of knife nerds here, no doubt. Northern Knives, good to have you here, Northern Knives. I finally got your Kaiser out to you. It is on its way up north, and I'm sorry it took so long. I'm sorry. That's all I can say, Northern Knives. Mike, that's all I can say. Some months I'm really good. I get right on it. Other months, other things get in the way. I do apologize, but your knife is on the way. Kep McNessart says, good evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Funny that you come right on hot on the heels of Northern Knives. Mook, your knives are also male. Like, honest for goodness, I think I sent you. I was dragging my feet on. My apologies, but it's great to have you here as always. Thank you for the loaners, one and all. I do appreciate them greatly. I say, give me 2 weeks with them, and then sometimes it goes longer. Sorry. Kepmuk is sitting there. He's like, yes, considerably longer. Will be latest knife obsession. All of them, he says. Well, yes, I get it. I'm with you on that. For me, I think you know what it is. Mark Ridgewell, what's up, fellas? Hope everyone's doing good. Mark, it's great to have you here, sir, as always. Wilby says, no Nova 1 today. Had the Ronin 2, the Bastinelli Mako, and the Riot Exo on the belt today. Riot Exo on the belt. Interesting. Wait, does the Exo, the pre-pocket clip, pre-lock Exo come with a belt sheath? That would be very cool. Can you put that back up, Jim? Oh, Mark says, can't wait for my Rex 45 Mannix to arrive. Those are cool. The black and white, I'm not so keen on the white handles. I like them in theory, but they get dirty quickly, and I get pretty stupid about the dirty white handles. And I'm not so fond. I gotta be honest. I'm not so fond of Star Wars. I love Star Wars, as a 7-year-old or however I mean, I love Star Wars, and I love to watch it now, but I'm just not so into the extended Star Wars universe as a guy in his 50s. So I'm not so into the stormtrooper look or the reverse tuxedo or whatever we're calling that, which to me sounds dirty. Let's not talk about the reverse tuxedo. This is a family show. Blame Dexter. Good to have you here, sir. I have been bitten by the sword bug thanks to Metal Complex. Interesting. Metal Complex got you on the sword bug, huh? He's the guy who's like, oh, look, finally, I found a cool fixed blade. And don't get me wrong, I love Metal Complex and have massive respect, but it's interesting that he's the one who got you into swords. Pete Davidson says, I'm playing Terry Toughnut. In my knife room while listening to the show. I don't know what that is, but I'm not saying that word. You can't make me say this. Sometimes my mom watches. Luck Knives, good to have you here, Mike. Howdy, he says. Well, howdy to you, sir. I'm very interested in the grooves you're putting on your knife blanks and that crazy curve shape out of left field, and I love it. So I can't wait to see what happens with that. Will B says, I have the Kydex sheath for my Exo. Okay. A buddy sent it to me. They shipped with the original Exos. I could see with the with Exo something like a Kydex sheath. It seemed like we just busted out there for a second. I'm not sure what's going on. I do live in a part of the country where, who knows, maybe they're doing some sort of a crazy spy test and everyone's getting zapped. I don't know. That sounded like maybe something I would have said in the 1960s. Kep McNessart says, no worries at all, Bob. I'm glad you got to check them out. They aren't late for anything. All right. Well, I appreciate that, but it's easy. They say possession is 9/10 of the law, and it's not like you come dropping by my house every day. So, and I'm not the guy who's gonna hold on guilt free to someone else's knives. It will gnaw at me, and I will allow it to gnaw at me while I hold on to your knives. But believe me, the gnawing will happen. Mark says, I agree, Bob. The scales are the first thing to go. Well, that's a cool thing about that new Rex 45 lightweight Shaman is that it's not Shaman, but Mannix is that it's one of the first, if not the first lightweight where it's not pinned. Blame Dexter says he got a two-handed sword from Sabersmith Inc. I always kind of liked them for watching Game of Thrones, those type of movies. Oh, that's cool. See, that's the cool thing about being Metal Complex. People, he's got such a huge following. He just gets I don't know. I know he has a list that he sends out, and he has people sending him knives. He does not get tons and tons of free knives, but he gets probably more than most, just because of his viewership, and he's also does long, really in-depth videos and good videos. So man, that's cool. Someday they'll send me swords. I love that. Pete Davidson says, sorry for the potty mouth. Terry Tough Guy would have been more appropriate. No, Pete. You're of a different culture, Pete. And all cultures are equal and good. But, my wife and I were just talking about that. How, like, Fanny, for instance, in England is way more scandalous than it is here. Here, you say fanny, it's like an innocent word for butt. Like, I'm gonna tan your fanny. I'm gonna give you a spanking. It's like it's not a serious word. Over there, it's like well, it's much dirtier. This old sword says, I have to unsheath my 5-foot. Oh, a traditional Filipino weapons Braveheart sword. Dude, yes. Okay, so Dave has the ultimate collection of traditional Filipino weapons swords. I have a couple back here. And I have a Gladius and the Espada y Daga. I'm going to pull the Gnunting off the wall. This is going to come into play momentarily. Apex Grind, good to have you here, sir. What's up, Knife Junkies from Long Beach? Good to have you here, man. From Long Beach. Here's to you. For some reason, reminds me of Reservoir Dogs. They mention Long Beach. I've never been there, I don't think. King Snake Jake says, good evening, Mr. DeMarco. Hope all is well. King Snake Jake, good evening to you, sir. Mr. DeMarco, I like that. That's got a good ring. That's not my father. My father's Dr. DeMarco. So I am Mr. DeMarco. Sometimes people, you call them Mr. They're like, oh, no, that's my father. Not me. You can call me Mr. DeMarco anytime. I'll take it. All that being said, I think it just might be time for a pocket check. Okay, today in my front right pocket, you might be getting sick of hearing about it, but I've been carrying the Mystic, and I carried it again today. And actually, I had a little break from it because, excuse me, I was traveling, and also I was carrying this an awful lot. I love this Kershaw Iridium. And I got to say, in my slightly older age, I mean, 5 years, at least during this show, I have gone from having to have the coolest and the best and the most expensive that I have on me every day to really being able to appreciate all these cool knives. I mean, everything from inexpensive to expensive, from like super smooth to they're all smooth now. Pete Davidson says we use that word all the time for a multitude of reasons, and I like that. and that's that's not here, that's there, and that's cool. Free to be you and me, man. Kumbaya. All right, so next up, I had the Little Bro Jack. We all know the Little Bro Jack, and this is the second coming thereof. The first one, which I have right here, had blade wrap issues. Blade wrap is when the blade on a slip joint comes in, and a lot of modern slip joints have stop pins like modern locking folders. But if it's a modern traditional, so to speak, it doesn't have that. It has the old mechanism with new materials. Anyway, if it over swings when it closes, it will hit the that little thing that you see where the spring is in there, and it will divot the blade. And that was the issue they were having with the first version of this. I kept mine and sharpened through it. Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay, unfortunately. This new one, he finally kind of re-engineered it, redesigned it, and got it through production. And here it is, and it's so gorgeous. And I'm loving this thing. It's got great walk and talk. Pretty much matches the first one. I said before it seems lighter, but on second, third, fourth inspection, it doesn't. It's not. It's just as stout as the first one. I think the smaller the spring, the stouter it's usually going to be. And then, of course, I got that beautiful blue Kieranite, stunning and gorgeous. I'm sure everyone's getting sick of hearing me say this, but to me, it looks like something you see in a deep space telescope. It's just gorgeous. I love it. I love Kieranite, and I also love that though it's smooth and contoured, it has a surface tension that keeps it grippy. I used this today. I didn't use that at all, actually, today. But a really, really nice knife, and I do adore it. In my hip, I had the Nova 1 right up front. Been carrying this a lot. That's the Nova 1 prototype. I love it, and it carries easily. And we're gearing up to do the Nova 2. We're going to start that after the 1st of 2024. That'll be great. It's going to be a Wharncliffe, and I'm seeing a very light olive handle, but I'm not going to say definitively yet. But each new Nova will have a different handle color and different liners, and will be a different blade shape, but on that same platform, same size, same handle. The Nova 1. Love this. So if you don't know, this is based on Hogtooth Knives EDC Tanto. It is the same dimensions, but this is my blade design on that knife, a knife that I had and carried a lot, like daily, all the time. Loved it so much that we decided to do a little collaboration, and then we're going to do another and hopefully another and just keep going. So emotional support knife today. I'm very into slip joints. That's my latest knife obsession. I come in and out. I go through these phases. They're always there. I'm always interested in them, but right now I'm in a heavy phase. So I have this beautiful leather Duty Daggers slip here. In camera right in front of me, and maybe it'll refresh and catch up a little bit. But I have this beautiful slip. Kevin Duty of Duty's Daggers made this for me, and it's very reasonably priced. He does beautiful work, very nice leather, and I've been keeping this in my back pocket. It's a good place for it because it's a big knife. This is the Lake Champlain Barlow by C. Reisner Cutlery. But also, I like to keep it in the back pocket because it's a natural sort of leather press. You have it back there, you sit down, it gets warm, it kind of presses it the way you want it around the blade. Around the handle, and you get a really nice effect. So this was my emotional support knife today, the C. Reisner Cutlery Lake Champlain Barlow clip point with my own die job here. So I'm not sure if you can tell with the sort of Hang on. The warm tone. I'm going to change it to a cooler tone here. Ooh, ooh, that's killing my eyes. All right. Cooler tone. You'll probably be able to see that I dyed these blue. So it was black micarta. I'm sorry, green micarta, but so gray from the epoxy that you could barely tell it was green. So I took the scales off and dyed them. And I think they marine or maritime blue. That's what I'm calling it. So that's what I had on me today. Let me know what you guys had on me. I know all clip points. Oh my God, I didn't realize that. That's a scandal. Oh my God, that's a scandal. All clip points and 2 blue. Geez. And 2 of them slip joints. Like I'm breaking a lot of rules here. But I did it for you. So let me know what you were carrying on you today. And I'd love to find out. This is one way I like to populate my collection, is to find out what you guys, because this is how I find out about great new knives. I am not a maven, but I have mavens in my circle. And those are the people who let me know what's up. So let me know what's up. What were you carrying? Will B says, hey, let me put this in the right way. All right. Will B says, God, that light. Yeah. Grimsmo Norseman, Hinderer XM24 Battlefield Pickup Sponto. I just carried my 24 Warncliffe yesterday for the first time in ages. And I was like, why have I not carried this in so long? But I'm always trying out new knives. Anyway, Sharp by Design Evo Typhoon, ProTech California Custom Knife Show Mordax. Benchmade Rift, in my opinion, best of those 3. The Al shoe, and I know you got a custom sheath with that. The Basinelli Mako, the Riyadh Exo, the Olight Baton 3. Damn, man, nice carry. You are wait. Okay, all right, okay. The only thing I don't know is that Mako a folder or is that a fixed blade Mako? Because I think they make both. I think they Mako both. Dave says carrying the Vosteed RS Chaos. Oh, that's a cool one from RS Knives. That's the compound ground sheep's foot. Well, they have a sheep's foot and a Warncliffe compression button. That is cool. In Thai Elmax RS Knife Works design. Which one is it? The Heretic Wraith Integral. Oh God, dude. CF Auto with Elmax and Jade Green G10. Bolster CJR. Oh, the frac. I want the frac. I want the frac in the stainless steel. I'm not a huge fan of frag, but I appreciate it. The S90V and the AB Knives 302. AB Knives 302. Oh, Aaron Bieber Knives 302. That's your fixed blade. Holy crap. Dude, that is a beaten. As usual, Dave's got just the baller carry here. And what I like about it is it's not just great knives, like it's a smattering of new and relevant, like knives. And I love that. I'm a late adopter. That's how I was raised. It's like, we're not going to get one until we know the push button phone has been perfected. It's like, hey, it's 1984. If they haven't gotten it right yet, this is as good as it gets. Can we please get a push button phone? Well, and now, now that the kids are out of the house, well, it's been years and years and years. My parents became early adopters of every new technology. And they got better at it than us. Manaja. Pete Davidson says, latest knife obsession for me at the moment is making my knife and other gear all matching. Matchy, like same brand or same colors or material, etc. I say matchy because my wife is into sets. She loves sets. And I get it. I get the, like I have my rules are kind of counter that, like you shan't match. And that's just, but that to me, that's as valid, as intensely valid as thou shalt match. I understand the instinct both ways, but to me, it's like it shouldn't match so that you have the most variety. But I get it. All blue, all fixed blades, all, or whatever it is. I get I get that, but I resist it, and that's good. My wife and I, that's the good. I just purchased a custom knife factory Evo 3.0. My God, I love that knife. I that was loaned to me by Lefty EDC, one of those. Maybe it wasn't the 3.0, but in DLC, and the Elvia version 2 with heat treat. I'm really enjoying them and definitely have them in my rotation. Okay, Judge, I'm curious about the Elvia V2. Is this from are you talking about the Elvia from Turner from Turner CNC? I think they have another run of Elvias. I didn't think it was V2. Oh, wait. This is a run of V2, I would imagine, right? Or did they change it? And I've only had one come through my hands. It was Jock's of Jock's Knife. He's one of our Gentleman Junkies who stands to win this TS 175. He had it shipped through me to him, and I got a chance to check it out. And the workmanship was awesome on that knife. I just don't know if it was a V1 or a V2, but very cool. I love that. I love the Bowie. Oh my God, I want that Bowie, CNC Turner Bowie, and then the Jin, his curved double edged sort of uh, um, Middle Eastern style knife. That's beautiful, and that's one knife that Lynn Thomp's interesting knife he saw, and man, if that's not an endorsement. I keep seeing the picture flash. Man, I don't know what is up. Blade Ogre says, carrying the John Demko Riverwolf. You've been carrying that a lot recently. That's a cool knife. The Demko 80 20.5 Tonto in 3V. The Sniper Dashi. The ZT 0308. The Spider Coast Swayback. The Baron Sons Baby Bowie. That is quite a baby, by the way. I saw that in some comparison pictures. The Hinderer XM18 recurve, the MILF recurve. That's from the Australian company. Why am I spacing on the name? GEC Granddaddy Barlow and the Sleazy Ogre. Wait. What is this GEC Granddaddy Barlow? I love the only Granddaddy Barlow I know and love is this Rough Rider. And who was it? Someone had a case Big Daddy Barlow on sale. Someone maybe who's here or who comes to Thursday Night Knives, someone on Instagram, and I was very tempted. But man, so tell me about that one that you have. Five Door says Lake Champlain Barlow, every one of its versions. The Lake Champlain Barlow, I love mine so much that now I want the sheep's foot version. But let's face it, it's not a frivolous purchase, so I will be waiting on that. But I love my clip point. The action on these, crazy good action. Let me see here. Have a nice day. Very nice to have you. Have a nice day. It's very nice to have you. Good evening, junkies, he says. Ryan Vest. Good to have you here, Ryan. I cut myself on my new Little Native in 20 CV. Ooh, very nice. All right. Hang on. All right. Let me show you something new. I have a bunch of new stuff. I'm going to have to start dropping it in smatterings. Will B says the Mako is the fixed blade with the finger ring. Okay. And they make a cool finger ring folder of that and use that back curve as a sort of wave, which I think is cool. So let's see, Jim, if the knife cam will cooperate on such an evening. What is up with that? All right. Yeah, maybe just without my face. So here it is. This is the QSP Hedgehog. And this is the exclusive traditionalknives.com version. And this is wearing the Duties Daggers leather slip. And as you can see on the back, he's got DD. Here, let's wait for this to catch up. Okay, you can see the DD and American made. Love that. I think personally that he should have the American made on the back like it is and put the DD on the front. You know, but he does great work with the leather slips. And then here is the knife, man. Oh, I love this thing. I've been carrying this a lot. This is the very, very hollow ground razor style slip joint knife, manufactured by QSP, branded QSP also. And I say that because the Lake Champlain Barlow, which I just had out, and the Ohio River Jack are branded C. Reisner cutlery, but are made by QSP. This is QSP and exclusive version by C. Reisner cutlery and traditional pocket knives. This thing is awesome. Look at, let's show you the blade geometry here. I know everyone shows it off here. Best way to show it is to close it. Look at how thin that gets. Very thinly hollow ground. If I can't get it to cooperate, just take my word for it. You got that beautiful long pull on that generously sized and pinchable blade. You have really nicely jigged, uniform jigging on that titanium, a double flute and a bolster. And I love this branded pivot. I wish that they left it at that. I don't think we need this QSP with the fire. It's kind of a cheesy logo anyway, and it doesn't really need to be there. But whatever, it's there and it doesn't break the deal. Now, you can still buy these. I think so. This one went away for a short while and then they came back. I guess they got another batch of them. And I was really getting into them right as they disappeared and was suffering the fear of loss. And as soon as these became available, I grabbed it. I love how thin they're, very svelte, very nice, great action. Yeah, I'll do this in front of the microphone so you can hear the walk and talk here. But so now they have one. They have exclusives over there with fat carbon. 7 different varieties of fat carbon. They all look beautiful. I want the purple one. I'm sure the purple's gone. You know, it's going to be a while before I'm buying another Hedgehog, but hopefully they have some left by the time I'm ready. But I love this knife, the Hedgehog. And if you need a slicey knife, a detail-oriented knife with that point, this one is great. This one is great. All right. Thank you. I just wanted to insert that. Put this back here because someone mentioned something about a slip joint, and that's my knife obsession. What is yours? Ketmuk says, today I'm carrying the Lucas Forge Kephart. Ooh, that sounds good. Jack Wolf Knives, Gunslinger Jack, an awesome knife. The Buck Cadet, also an awesome knife. And the Wingard Wearables Quill. Got one of them right here. Very good. I love your carry, sir. And I love the knives I sent back to you. I look over there because their ghosts now reside there. Grim Reaper, good evening, Bob, he says. Grim Reaper, great to have you here. Grim Reaper is also a gentleman junkie and also stands to win this super cool TS1 175. Looks like a combat knife, really cool folder. Grim Reaper was carrying a Reich F8 F8 1, I'm sorry, F815J. 815J. Is that the Warncliffe Grim Reaper with the contour G10? I think I know that knife. This old sword says, it's the Warney, Bob. White Mountain Knives exclusive with the blue hardware. Okay, nice. I'm not surprised. He's got the taste. Having a Prevention 229 kick stop drop point with the black micarta inlay. That sounds nice. This is my introduction to the kick stop. I picked this up along with a case of COVID. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I'm sorry, man. That sucks. But I like how you stated it. You know, you're a stoic dude. I can tell from when I met you and from your from your videos and stuff. That's good for you. I mean, good for you to have that attitude. But there's one thing, Jim. Can you go back to his last to that last comment. Thank you. Oh, the kick stop. How do you like that? And I'm going to preface that by saying I have never experienced the kick stop, but I have experienced the SLT, the one on the 0055 ZT, the GTC, the Gus, the Gustavo, god damn, slow down. Anyway, that mechanism, and I always thought, like, in the future, like, all of this mechanismness here can rust and can accumulate grit and sand and crap, and kind of render this whole thing useless. It's kind of like the more complicated. It's like how the MiG was made for 18-year-old Russian kids to maintain in a field with a ball peen hammer, and the F-15, required a crew of 20 people and a high-tech facility. It's kind of the same thing. Anyway, my question to you, as someone with your background and someone with your love for fixed blades and their reliability, what do you think of the kick stop? All right, that's all. Infidels Unlimited said today's combo was the Viper knives, Viper Keeper. Viper makes some cool knives. I'm not sure what the Keeper is. In N690, of course, and a lovely fixie from Tops Knives called the Viper Scout. Ooh, I like the theme there. In name only. I say, of course, because every Italian knife is N690. It's like as if no other steel is allowed to pass across their border. I admire Italy's border security, especially when it comes to steel. Scott Brew 72. Good to have you here, Scott Brew. Whatever that is, that looks like a sweet car. I can't tell what that is. Is that a Jaguar or something? Or I don't know. I can't tell. It looks cool. I like the long hood. My current obsession is with Midgard Messer. I don't have that, but I get that. I totally get that. I mean, look at the stuff behind me. I get it. That's not my thing exactly, but I spent a good amount of time at their booth at Blade Show, marveling at all their cool stuff. It's not stuff that I necessarily want for my collection or that I'm going to buy, but man, I love and respect it. So hats off to you, Scott Bruce 72. I think I'm 1 year older than you, sir. Craig Vincent says, arrived this week at my door. Oh, the Tucson TS 21 in color titanium, 6-leaf SL26, and 6-leaf is like the budget-minded brand of Tucson. So they got a thing with the noun and the number, or the number and the noun. Cold steel double safe hunter. That's a cool knife. And the Benchmade Freak. So the Benchmade Freak we were just talking about, they have a new version with S90V and carbon fiber. That looks nice. James Moore, nice to have you here, sir. Happy Thursday Night Knives. Well, happy top of the weekend to you, sir. Pete Davidson says, I might have to put the Bud Neely back on the shelf and pick something a little less collectible to rest up against my toughen top. All right, Neely, love that. That's a deep cut, and I remember Bud Neely from like mid 90s or mid to late 90s custom knife show, New York custom knife show, when it was actually in New York City at the Doubletree or one of the hotels right in Times Square. And I know I met Al Polkowski, and he was ornery, and I know that Bud Neely was there, and I was really into Bud Neely, especially I loved those tactical tips. I love what he did. Anyway, cool carry and a deep cut. I like it. Craig Vincent says, I forgot to add the Cold Steel Secret Edge neck knife to the carry list I already posted. Can't forget that little fella. The Secret Edge. Oh, that's the double-edged one, right? That's the double-edged with the wasp-waisted handle. And yeah. And the steep grinds. I had that. I gave that to someone. It's not over with I give a lot of knives away, it turns out. Not as much as I should, apparently. Nomadic Adventures. Nice to have you here, Nomadic Adventures. Mustard Balls Lenny says no more knives. You know what, Nomadic Adventures? You always come up with some sort of riddle. And Nomadic Adventures, for some reason, I see you as a Nordic nomad, like more Viking than Bedouin, let's say. And it's like you're giving me these things in runes, and you slowly reveal what they mean. What does that mean? That one, I am stumped, man. Or are you talking about No New Knives November, which I haven't done in shameful amount of years. I used to do No New Knives November. I don't anymore. Have a Knife Day says, also got my Spyderco military tip up carbon fiber scales project. Ooh, nice. Oh, tip up carbon fiber scales project. That sounds nice. All right, let me show you another something cool. Pardon me, before we get to this Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway. James Willard, nice to have you here, James. Hey, Bob. You planning to come to Blade Show, Texas in February? Ooh. No, I am not. But let me quote my wife from last year, February, when I was sitting at the counter. We have a bar here, and she's on the other side, and she's cooking, and we're facing each other. And I was like, wow, lots of my knife friends are at Blade Show, Texas. And she says, why aren't you there? And I was like, why am I not there? So yes, I think I will try and make it to Blade Show, Texas, to just to make good on that conversation, right? She's the one who brought it. I mean, she's practically pushing. Supposed to do say no. I'm not going to say no to her. Yes, I will see you there. It's done. I got to remember this now, James. Thank you, William. I should say, but it's in February. Okay. All right. I will write that down. Okay, let me show you something else cool. I already showed you the little bro jack. So, right here. Civivi knife, for the first time ever, sent me 2 knives. They reached out to me. I felt like a star. I'm like, really? Civivi? Like, are they trying to get? Because sometimes I get, I don't know why, but sometimes I get emails for Metal Complex or for Cedric and Ada. And I'm like, I don't know why you think this, but it's not me. And you can maybe tell by TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com, that's your first clue. But anyway, Civivi reached out to me and wanted to see if I wanted to check out a couple of knives. And I said, yes. And they offered the mini Praxis, but I mentioned that we already have that. We meaning I bought that for my wife, and I've already shown that off here. But I'd love to check out the brazen button lock. So they sent this, and they sent me a fixed blade that I'm going to show you. And my voice just cracked in mentioning that fixed blade because it's so hot. It's so hot. That knife. It's a button lock, and I think Civivi has pretty much gotten button lock down. It with the coated blades, I've noticed, I've had a couple now. It starts with a little bit of lock stick, and maybe it continues, but a lot of that wears in, just like the bearings will wear a race into the coating and make it just much more slick. It's kind of the same concept with the lock. And this thing is getting smoother and smoother, and I love it. And I keep kind of turning it in the light so you can check out the different grinds on this really nice Tonto blade. I love this blade. It's a very useful blade shape. It's beautiful to look at. It's very thinly ground, flat ground, but it's already a thin stock, relatively broad blade, and comes to a nice, super thin edge, both on this straight edge and this straight edge. And then, of course, it's got that secondary point and then that wicked Wicked tip there. Sorry that I didn't need to say it like that, but very wicked tip. It's quite wicked. Quite wicked. And with the swedge, it comes to a diamond tip. It's like a dagger, basically, at the tip there. So really, really nice knife. I love it. And I love it in this coloration. Uh, the green and black. Just while I talk about the other options they have. This also comes in a okay, let me get this right. Black G10 with stonewash, and then a jade G10 with stonewash. This is the only black blade and the only OD green. And also it's got like the sort of just kind of neutral, regular ergonomics that feels so good in hand. And then in reverse grip, I love what they did with the pommel. That's basically how I always draw fantasy knives or knives that I want to have made. I have pommels just like that so that your thumb can articulate over it. Articulate. You like that? Your thumb caps that shape very nicely and locks over. I really like this knife a lot. Though if I had to go stabby with it in reverse grip, I would of course do it this way. And that feels fine too. You know, you're not caring too much about ergonomics if you're actually in that situation, I would imagine. But I do this because you get a lot more cutting out of that tearing motion that you're going to naturally get, but also you're going against the lock, and you don't want this knife to fold on you if you hit something hard and cut your fingers off, basically. So uh, chances are you're better off like this. Is what I hear. I love that, and I feel like perhaps I've arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Civivi is sending me knives, which I'm very psyched about. Let me show you the other one. Why not? And then we shall get to the giveaway. All right. So you have James says, one latest obsession is unidirectional carbon fiber. I first got into, oh God, a great Respect. And tomorrow I have a City Light from JP Martin. Is that RJ's son arriving with uni carbon fiber scales, Mokutai accents, and his pocket magic clip? Okay, I think that is RJ Martin's son, right? I know that pocket magic clip. I've seen it, and I think I've seen it in your Instagram, or and then it. Oh man, but Lespect, he's one of my favorites. I love David Lespect, and I met him in an elevator with two or with two other French knife makers, leaving Blade Show 2022, and it was a mess because I don't speak any French, and they didn't speak very much English. But I was like, you know, your knives are so fucking gorgeous. I love your knives. And the other one was who was it? They were all like French studs. I can't remember who the other guy was. Oh, he's got a name that's sort of Italian. Anyway, G-Man W, good to have you here, G-Man. How's it going, guys? He says, it's going well. It's going well. I'm getting a little hyped up on cafecito here. But this is on top of like about a pound of spaghetti. I made a pretty good sauce tonight and maybe a half a bottle of wine. Scott Bruce 72 says, oh, 2006 Corvette. I love Corvettes, but tell me what you think, Scott Brew. The ones that are maybe the newest, like I like the second to latest design where it still had the real long hood. But now it's like they're making them look like Ferraris or McLarens or Lamborghinis or the mid-engine or rear engine cars where it's got a short hood and a long back. And to me, that's totally not Corvette. And I have a good friend, a very old friend who he and I have always loved cars since high school. And he, out of the blue, we don't talk that much, but out of the blue, he texts me. He's like, I think you might agree with me, but the new Corvettes are vulgar. And I was like, that's the perfect word. Yes, they are vulgar. They are vulgar. Of course, they're cool as shit. And when they drive by, I'm always like, what is that? And I'm like, That would be a cool anything else, but not a cool Corvette because the Corvette needs that opinion. Um, and you don't have to pay for it. You got it for free. Have a Knife Day says, they said you've never seen this before. No, haha. They still, there's so much to discover in the industry, but it works flawless on the Chavez. It is a smooth functioning knife, and I'm very impressed. Oh, well, that's cool. All right. Well, that's good. It's good to hear that innovative novelties or innovative and novel innovations are robust. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear that, yes, this thing that I'm sort of into right now will stand the test of time. That's good to hear. Byron Kennedy says, Knife Trends, a triad EDC rotation of fixed, modern, folder, and slip joint, and 7 incomplete DIY knife kits to get done. How's the RR Bowie? Oh man, it's nagging me. It's in the off. Like it's those handles. Those 4 slabs are still right there. They've moved slightly. What a whole bunch of stuff has moved out of this room. Those are still there, right next to the blade. So it's not going. That's what I'm saying. But it will at some point. Pete Davidson, and if that is, I have the read by Rough Rider Knives in 3CR. It's an amazing knife. It stood up to amazing abuse and still kept a razor sharp edge. The only thing is the handle's a piece of crap. So Byron sent me 4 beautiful pieces of wood because I was like, I'm going to rehandle it and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh yeah, here's take some nice wood and do it. And I still have yet to do it. And I thought I was going to get to it this summer. And the summer is so long gone. I don't know. It's going to take me some time. We need another pandemic. Oh, I mean, I don't mean that, God. I don't mean that at all. I just mean, yeah, just with little kids, young kids, it gets busy. Pete Davidson, everyone's busy, Bob. It's true. Everyone's busy. So that's never an excuse. Pete Davidson says, put my Kizlyar. So how do you pronounce that? Kizlyar. Put my Kizlyar compact in waistband. Great little double-edged knife. So I like the look of those. That's a Russian brand. Just have to watch the serrations on the back when whipping it out. Easy. Yes. Okay, so I have this in my waistband a lot recently, and if it's not this, it's something else. But it's up front. It's in the appendix, and it's usually at a pretty extreme angle because I know, and I don't want this poking too far south. Hey Steve, good to have you here, sir. Love that Civivi brazen. Yeah, it is sweet. I love everything you show off on your channel, by the way, but that's another story. I have it here so I can grab it like this in reverse grip, or more likely than not, I'm doing this and just pulling it out and using it. And it's very easy to have it like this and pull it out and bring it to bear in regular grip. But and right now I'm in a slender phase, thank the heavens and such. And I need to stay that way because if I have any belly protruding over that, it's going to get cut by that recurve unless I do that angle out thing. But you need extra room to angle out, and I don't want to have to think about that. So it's a good incentive to keep myself trim so I don't cut myself. And that's kind of what you were talking about with the serrations. It's like over on the side over here, I used to carry over there, and it would worry me because if it was anywhere south of the belt line, it's like you're in the danger zone. Craig Vincent says, Bob, you described the Cold Steel hideout. Oh, okay. Oh, Secret Edge is more like the 3-inch holdout, but it's a necker, good size neck knife. So that's the one that's more like the ski and do the stick, right? Because I can't hold out, hideout. That's the thing. I cannot keep all those names straight. Peacekeeper, Safekeeper, Safekeeper 1, Peacekeeper 2. Jean-Pierre Martin is one of the great French knife makers. No relation to RJ. Oh, okay. All right. Jean-Pierre. Yeah, those French knife makers, man. Pretty unique. I like the modern sort of actuation in very traditional dress, at least. So, and I know that you don't like the traditional materials, but I mean, give me a David Lespect with stag and and Damascus. To me, that's, oh God, that's heavenly, I should say. Craig Vincent says, when I started carrying last year, I didn't like titanium. Now I might be on my way to becoming a full-blown tie head. I like titanium. It really is light. I also love aluminum, but it's so much lighter and it's a beautiful material. It's beautiful to look at and to feel. I love blasted titanium. Um, See, I really reduced the amount of knives I brought out with me tonight. But let me put this under here. This is some nice titanium on Bravo. Crazy Abe, nice to have you here, Crazy Abe. Hey y'all, first time catching a live. Well, Crazy Abe, you're catching one. We're having some stuttering issues with the feed for some reason tonight, but it's awesome to have you here nonetheless. Let us know what you're carrying today. Drop that in the comments for sure. I love the blasted titanium on this knife. This is one that I don't carry as much as I should, but I just ran this over my Spyderco stone. I'm not sure what grit this is. But my brother gave it to me years ago. I've been sharpening everything on it now. I'm kind of stepped away from stropping. It's like I've stropped the edges away that made them so sharp and so polished that they don't grab on. And I want a little bit more toothy edge. I've been doing everything on this stone. And I did that with this. And this thing is wicked now. Beefer Baron, nice to have you here, Beefer Baron. I'm in Shoes Zun 122 at this time. What is that? Oh, I'm into Shoes. I don't know what that is. Zone 122 at this time. Tell me what that is, Beefer Baron. You have me on tenterhooks here, man. Craig Vincent says, I wish I was a famous knife maker, but I'm more like an unfamous knife purchaser. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. Aren't we all, man? That's a good point. But it's like Les George said, here's the most bowler and here's fame. Let me show you another cool knife after I'm going to keep this over here so I don't forget. After we give away, because I'm looking at the time now, and it is time to give away the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife. Let me just put it under the camera. Jim, you can go full to this. They don't need to see my face, and I want this to come through clearly. So thank you, sir. This beauty here is the Tucson TS 175. It is a saber ground blade of D2. It's got a pretty robust blade stock, but it is broad and comes to a very thin edge. Do I have paper here? No. Okay, so it comes to a very, very fine edge behind the edge there, but is pretty robust. Okay, you get the point there. You've got thumb studs, you've got a flipper tab, and then you have fullers on both sides, which you can Spidey flick with. And of course, that's a blood gutter. So when you stab this into someone's body, all the blood rushes out this way, and it's very efficient. And so when you pull it out, it doesn't have suction. Okay, that's all bologna sausage. I was just saying that just for fun. That's some people call that a blood groove or a blood gutter. That is not what that is. It's a fuller. It lightens the blade. It also makes it more rigid, and in this case, allows you to open it in different and fun ways. Has a super stout liner lock. It's almost like a frame lock here. Titanium. You see how generous that this titanium lock is, and then it's got a frag G10 handle. It's very evocative of a military classic, whether it's a K-bar or some sort of blend thereof. But you see that frag pattern on the contoured G10 scales. This beauty was donated to the channel through the generosity of Dave of This Old Sword Blade Reviews, who's in the chat. And I'm so happy I get to send this along, mostly because I get to get it out of my man cave here, where it was about to find a permanent home, because I love this knife. I have two Sun knives, and this could have easily been the third, as can the other one we're going to give away some other time, also given to me by Dave. So very, very generous. Let's pull up that Wheel of Destiny, Jim, shall we? I'm going to take a sip of my ultra black coffee. I like to wet the whistle with something that will dry the whistle, ultimately. All right. Here it is. Oh, wait. Before we do, Jim, teams of our gentleman junkies, just so that we can, sir, as he brings that up, I will show you this, which has been on the table all night. And it is my gununting from Traditional Filipino Weapons. And I have this out because I'm going to show you, as soon as we give this away, I'm going to show you a couple of other sweet new knives. And one of them is very evocative of this. And I got it in a silent auction. I'm very excited about it. It was very limited, and I snagged one. All right, let's see. Let's see if we got these guys, these patrons. All right, thank you, sir. All right, Gentleman Junkies tonight who are on that wheel are 5-door, Ben Belkin, Byron Kennedy, Caleb Townsend, Cam Michael, Colin Maison Pierre, Dante, Dion Page, Edwin Callow, Ezekiel Yates, Francis Villar, Gavin Kalitis. Thank you, Gavin. He is a new Gentleman Junkie. That is Gavin Kalitis. Grim Reaper, Jay McConnell, Jesse Tellis, Jock's Knife, JVF, K Mason, Kevin Moore, Martin Gamboa, Martin VC, Mr. VC256, Never Enough Knives 007, Scott Nelson, Sean Curry, Tong Kim, Will Boyer, and Northern Knives. Thank you so much, guys, one and all. And Gavin, sorry I butchered your last name. I'm sure I did. Beforehand, I was practicing, and it sounded really good to me, and then I just screwed the pooch. So, Gavin, thank you for becoming a Gentleman Junkie. It's much appreciated. Let's see if you won this here knife. All right, Jim, let us roll that wheel, shall we? Spin that wheel, I think, is the appropriate verb to use in this case right here. In 3, 2, and 1. And here it goes, ladies and gentlemen. It's always tricky. It's always going to tease, and then it's going to stop right dead. Yes, 175 is yours. Couldn't happen to a nicer fella. Byron Kennedy, he's been a patron for a long time. And man, he's a great guy. And he's the guy who sent me all that wood. So here you go, right back at you. A Tucson TS175. And believe me, we greatly appreciate your support here at the Knife Junkie podcast channel and Thursday Night Knives. This one wrapped by. All right. Let us see here. What was I going to show you? Oh, yes, that's right. 2 knives. But first, I'll start with the one I was going to show first. And that is this. Also sent to me by Savivi. This is the Tomashii, designed by Bob Terzuola. This is the clip I put on it, and that's got some of that rubber inner tube there. But it ships with a tech lock type thing. Great sheath, but check out this beautiful knife. Wow, this thing is gorgeous. It's very inspired by traditional Japanese knives, the traditional tanto, and this very Terzuola handle. Terzuola fixed blade handle is so gorgeous. Feels awesome in hand in this um, sort of traditional saber grip here. Feels so good. It's got a nice length to it. Extends all the way to the palm, and you've got a thumb ramp there with milled in jimping. And then if you need that more Filipino grip where you're powering down on the back of the blade, you got some jimping right there. Here, let's see if we can get that to focus. Oh man, this thing is so cool. I I love this knife, and it's the only Terzuola designed knife I own currently. I believe this is 14C28N or D2. Now I don't remember. But Canvas Micarta handle fully encapsulates the full tang. So you can see it's uh, there's a seam down the center, but you're not seeing the metal of that tang. And I adore this knife, and um, I'm very, very pleased with it. And my review of it is going up tomorrow, so check that out. It's an interesting thing. Where is it? It's over there. But they send Civivi and Sencut. I have the Waxahachie, which I really like too, and I talk about that knife quite a bit. But they ship their fixed blade knives with these gigantic gutted paracord, elaborate lanyard things, fobs. They're not lanyards. You know, a lanyard you can put around your neck or around your wrist. These are just fobs, just decorative, like giant fucking decorative things that come off the back of them. It looks like plumage on a bird of paradise, but it's interesting that they send it, and I guess it's valuable because it's a decent length of paracord. It's gutted, but could you could undo it and use it for stuff. Byron says, "Thank you, Bob." Well, sir, kudos to you, and thank you for your support. That is the last time I flip your new knife. That's not true. Because it will get flipped numerous times before I package it. Great sheath, as I mentioned on this, and I think that this would carry nicely horizontally on the belt. Though it does have a bit of length. The handle is longer generally, longer than I normally carry on fixed blade knives on my person. But so far in the 3 o'clock position on the side, this works just fine. It's a little too much for me in what do you call it? Appendix. Just a little too long. But my God, I love this thing, and now I really want to get the Tough Knives Tonto, the Tough Knives Jeff Blauvelt designed Tonto, the big wide, audaciously wide Tonto that Civivi just made. Now I want that. Civivi just, they never fail. Civivi, I guess to me it's Civivi and Sencut that really do it for me, mostly Civivi. They amaze me and they make great stuff. So now I'm into their fixed blades. Awesome. More stuff for me to get. Yay. You know? Okay. All right. Enough of that. So we were talking about latest obsessions. Anyone else? Anyone have a latest obsession? Let me show you this cool thing that I had this in my cart for a long time. Actually, this I got accidentally, oddly enough. But I'm happy I did, and I'm not returning it. So, but I put this in my cart a while ago, probably during my last slip joint phase, and it's awesome. It's a full size case Stockman in CV, so that's chrome vanadium steel. And now, actually, this is not. This is now 1095. Now, meaning now they're calling it their carbon steel line instead of CV, and now they're saying that it's 1095. Anyway, it's still that really nice jigged bone, that beautiful bone cover there. I just love Case for their how they dye their bone and how they do all their covers, and they really seem to spend special attention on their chrome vanadium or 1095 knives. This one is just got really nice fit and finish. Oh, here's a little thing with Stockman. So the Stockman traditionally has here, but anyway, a Stockman usually is 3 blades. It's got a main blade that's a clip point. It's got a secondary and that's on its own spring, and then it's got 2 secondary and tertiary blade. Secondary blade is the sheep's foot, and the third blade over here is the spay blade, a small spay blade. Now, to get them to not rub, here, if you look at it, they're nestled in there on angles, and all good um, stockmen do that. Even some bad stockmen do. I mean, like the Buck Stockman doesn't do that. It's all 3 springs, and it's not the greatest knife, but I still like those. But in any case, that's pretty much the traditional setup. And it's very hard to avoid blade rub with this design. But one way that is traditionally used to avoid blade rub, hello, my love, is to open up first the sheep's foot and then open up the spay blade, which, yes, is for spaying animals. And it is gross. But hey, some people have to spay animals. And Argo better be careful. No, no. He's already spayed. Already done. And so that way you can avoid rubbing those blades together, because the spay is smaller, shorter than the sheep's foot. Yeah, neuter is for females. Yeah, spay is cutting. Is removing goodie bits. Good night, baby. So yeah, very very psyched about this knife, and really since my obsession right now is slip joints of all sorts. I've got these great ones from QSP. I've got these always getting beautiful ones from Jack Wolf Knives. I'm spoiled rotten. Well, I mean, I bought the QSPs, but in other words, I'm lucky, and I've got a lot of these great slip joints around me, and that's what I'm into right now. Five Door says, obsession, the nightshade sent me down a search for an authentic shillin cutter. Asian street market shops don't have websites. How cool, Five Door. Got to figure out a way to get a shillin cutter. Yes, that is cool. So I don't have my nightshade out with me, but that downward leaf-shaped blade, it's such a unique and beautiful design. Greg Vincent, still obsessed with getting all the cold steel knives. Yeah, collection is up to 55 to 60 knives. Craig, that is more than respectable, sir. That is more than respectable. I love that. Cold steel, just I will never tire of them. And now that I'm currently in another slip joint phase, they do make a few slip joints out of one of their, I think, Taiwan factories. I'd be very interested in checking out their Stockman, for instance, see how they do it. Crazy Abe says the carbon steel is definitely the way to go with case. Used to have the small Stockman like that. Love my GEC 88. I'm not sure about the 88. I have I pulled out my the one GEC Stockman I have. It's the 66 calf roper. And this one has really nice walk and talk on the main blade, and then these two are not floppy, but a much lighter pull on the secondary blades. But really, it doesn't really matter that much, does it? You're not cutting. You're not really going too hard in the paint with this, are you? You shouldn't be. If you are, you're using the wrong tool, probably. This is for light cutting chores. It's a pocket knife, people. So on a Stockman, I'd love if Ben Belkin made a Stockman. That would be so cool. But we've talked a lot here, even about the challenges of making one of his knives to his standards with the multi-blade setup, because it requires all sorts of different designing this way. You got to get everything to nestle together like this. See, those blades are all crooked. You pull them out, they're all going cattywampus. But that's because they fit in together in the right way. Actually, the main blade isn't. The main blade is straight, but the other two kind of have to curve to fit into that handle, and only use 2 springs for 3 blades. That's cool. I like the Stockman. Byron says spay blade required for a fresh plate of deep fried mountain oysters from Cattleman Steakhouse in OKC Stockyards District. Get them while they're hot. All right. I've never had Rocky Mountain oysters. I'm not against it. I've eaten thymus gland, and I've eaten, sweetbreads, all those different glands and stuff, and those are good. Why not Rocky Mountain oyster? Why not? And you know what? If you do it, I hear that you become a much more virile man. Vincent says, I got thinking about grabbing a Stockman to test the slipping waters. Yeah, I want to. Right. The Ranch Boss, though, is now, that's the current version of the Broken Skull, which was the second version of something else that came before it that was made with a steel body with fake Stagalon handles and stuff. That was like the Lone Star Hunter or something. But that profile has seen a bunch of different lives. 3 anyway. Pete Davidson says another recent obsession is customizing Swiss Army knives with fancy handles. Nice. Cheap, accessible, and useful. Good little projects for a rainy day. Indeed. I love that. We had someone else here who was doing that, and I don't remember who it was. But I've also been watching people on YouTube while uploading videos and stuff at work, taking traditional knives like this and doing repairs and pounding out the pin and deleting blades and doing all sorts of stuff that I would never attempt with any slip joint, unless you get it at a flea market and you're just wanting to get rid of a broken blade and make it a thinner jackknife or something. Infidels Unlimited says turn of the century American-made fixed blade frontier knives is my fixation presently. I love that. Is that like a Hudson Bay knife and that kind of thing? Hudson Bay knife? That's a late 19th century frontier knife, isn't it? Hudson Bay knife. I love that. Looks sort of this knife by Lefty and Colin Maison Pierre, Devo Knives. What is this? The Stout. To me, this always reminded me of a Hudson Bay knife. At first, I was like, oh, it's like a Bowie. And I was like, no, it's not. It's more like a Hudson Bay knife. This is a great EDC, by the way. Pete Davidson says, do you consider a Swiss Army knife a slip joint? Absolutely, I do. Yes, I do, sir, because it is. No arguing it. Now there are some things where who was I just watching? Maybe it was, I think it was Patty. I think it was Patty's. He was talking about modern slip joints versus traditional slip joints. And I was like, how is that even a thing? And to me, the main distinction that he brought up a couple, but the one that really mattered to me was a traditional slip joint has a kick, meaning this part of the ricasso that sticks out. Here, let's see if we can get this to catch up. That little part of the ricasso right under the sharpening notch that sticks out is what determines the action. That's what stops it against the backspring, as opposed to a modern slip joint, which is this, and it still has the slip joint spring on the back and still does everything a slip joint does, except it's got a stop pin in there. You can see it right. Ow, shit. You can see it right there, right beyond the tang. That's a stop pin. So that's never going to have blade wrap. It's never going to overshoot and hit the inside. It's got a stop pin. So to me, that's the difference between a modern traditional and a traditional, or a modern slip joint and a traditional slip joint. Also materials. This has titanium and M390. This has 1095 and nickel silver. Craig Vincent says, Bob, Cold Steel just did it to you again with their naming conventions. Range Boss is like the Broken Skull. Ranch Boss is more along the lines of the Buck 110. Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Yes. Right. They did. They did get me. That's exactly right. Range Boss and Ranch Boss, man. Maybe at a certain I got a bunch of stuff to show. But these four, I got four of these, but I'm going to show you two of them, and then you can extrapolate and imagine the other color combos. But look at these. These are from Off Grid Knives. These are the new rapid fire variants, and I dig them. I like them better than any other rapid fires in the past because they take the Viper blade and the Stinger blade and they put them on the Viper, the only of three assisted action knives that I like. The ZT 350 and the ZT 566. I love both of those knives, and they're assisted. These knives, I love the rapid fire. I keep one in the door of my car. It's the orange handled one with the rescue Warncliffe and the glass breaker. But the first of the rapid fires was the beautiful recurve, a blade very similar to what we see on the fixed blade backcountry by Off Grid. And then they did the Warncliffe, and now they're doing this beautiful Stinger blade. You can get that in this coloration or the black, and vice versa. And this thing is awesome. Now, the blade steel is much thinner on this than on the original Stinger. And damn, I don't know what the hell is up with that there. But the blade itself, when you look at it this way, is broader. So it's going to be even slicier than the original Stinger, which admittedly is less slicey than most off grids because it's a saber grind and not a full height flat grind, but they're still so damn thin and so well ground that even the most oblique of cutting edges or oblique of geometry with an off-grid knife is still slicier than almost anything else you're going to run into. And that's the same case with the this is not the Stinger, this is the Viper. The Viper version 2 Tonto blade. Kerry changed the shape, the overall profile, and the grind of the Viper knife. And this is the Viper 2 blade with the flat grind on both the forward and the back portions of the blade with the center point. So that drop center point there puts the point at right in line with the pivot and puts it in a much more utilitarian spot for utilitarian work. Also gives you good use of this whole front edge. But also, if you're going to use this in some sort of a bladed scrap or some sort of a blood feud or some sort of a duel, and you have to thrust this into human flesh, you're going to know exactly where that point is, and it's perfectly oriented. It has the jimping, that double jimping that goes all the way up the spine that I'm a huge fan of. And again, the blade stock is thinner than the original Viper, and the blade is also broader than the original Viper. So slicey as all hell. It is indeed. Contour G10, when you look at it this way, and then it's got those hexagonal scoops, kind of like a golf ball or something on the side that really grips your hand. One thing that they've really done with this, or one thing that they've done with this new Rapid Strike, both models that I really like, is they've taken down the ramp of the clip here, so you don't feel it at all in your hands. Now, the one that I have, the rescue version that I have in my car as we speak, when you grab it in your fist like this and squeeze it, you really feel that clip. You don't feel it anymore. This knife is awesome. And it's a really, I mean, for an assisted knife. All right, let me just put it this way. I love the knife, and it's assisted, and it kicks out with the power of, the strongest Microtech out the side, like a Stitch or 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 some big Protech that kicks like a mule. So they are delicious. Pete Davidson says, I just find a Swiss Army knife more useful than a traditional slip joint for a similar experience. Yeah. Well, sure you do, because it's got more tools, right? It's got more stuff on it. And I appreciate that. Uh, I think that Swiss Army knives with me lose points for style just because everyone's got them and they're very common. But then again, that's another thing that elevates them. That's why I like what you're saying, taking a Swiss Army knife and tweaking it and making it special. That's why I like the ALOX models, even though you can't get they haven't figured out how to engineer a place to put a toothpick and tweezers on those ALOX models, which burns me up. They're the Swiss. They can do that stuff. They can make a watch that can track the moon for the next 500 years mechanically, uh, with some gears and some springs, but they can't quite manage that. I don't think I don't buy it. Anyway, Blade Ogre says, been away for a while tonight and just saw what you said. The Granddaddy Barlow is the Remington Silver Bullet Granddaddy Barlow, known as the Cowboy and made by GEC. Is it like this? I have one of these. This thing is awesome. This, because this is what is this? 97 or something? Damn, it's a big ass knife. This is the 235220 with beautiful, beautiful bone handles and an amazing spay blade. That spay blade is incredible. And great walk and talk. Best action and walk and talk of any of my GECs. Beautiful knife. G-Man W. My obsessions have been rotating lately from Demcos, Emersons, I get that. Protech, I get that. Hinderer, I get that. Sprinkling of Spydercos in between. I mean, you're mentioning all of the greats and classics. Not all of them, but they're all the ones you mentioned are. Craig Vincent says, LOL, hideout, holdout, spit out, ranch boss, range boss, home ranger. Nobody can keep up. Yeah, just send them all to me. They're all cool. All right, the next knife I was going to show you, my wife has with her. Oh, she's back. Well, I'm not going to go chase her down, but it's a knife I got for her at the Texas Custom Knife Show by Maximus Knives. His name is Neil Warren, and he's a knife maker who's making these incredible kitchen knives. Also, there's a C called the Mama, and it's a great looking knife. It's in the excuse me, it's in the midweek supplemental that came out yesterday. You should check it out. It's cool as hell. I'll do a close-up video of it, but it's got blue rich light handles that are beautiful and a really nice, like, I don't know, it's kind of like a drop point, clip point. It's like it would be a drop point, but the clip is really extreme up front. It's a very cool knife. But I don't have that to show you. What I do have to show you is something else by 310 Forge. That's Mike Cahill, a great guy that I ended up talking to a lot at the Texas Custom Knife Show. Really cool young dude and a Baptist preacher, as well as knife maker. So yeah, interesting cat. But this is one of his mini scalpers. He does a lot of big bowies that I couldn't afford, but he makes some smaller knives that I could. And so I picked one of these up. And this carries really nicely on the belt, like this, right up front, right on the belt. You can't quite see it, but right on the belt up front, so I can pull it out and have it like this, or I can just pull it out and use it. But here, let me show you the knife itself. Here, I'll put it under the knife cam here. So it's a beautiful 1/16 of an inch thick 1095 mini scalper. So it's a sort of American, it's like a roach belly, American style knife, um, used for all purposes, and sort of following the traditional lines of a scalper knife. It's got African wood. Can't remember the name of the wood exactly, but I look forward to it getting richer and more beautiful as my own hand oils, enrich it and such. But it's such a nice little fixed blade to carry. And as you can see, it's got sort of a scandy edge there. And it is just wicked sharp. And that scandy edge on such a thin blade, this reminds me a little bit of my ditch pick by JW Knife and Tool, which is totally, 100. Oh, where is it? It's right here. I have it out here. This reminds me, oddly enough, a little bit of this knife, which is also a 16th of an inch thick. And when you have a knife that thin, how big, how broad a bevel can you put? How broad an edge bevel can you put? Well, not much. Your edge bevel is going to be your edge, and that makes for a wickedly sharp knife. So these two knives kind of fit a similar pattern. I guess I'd say the Cahill knife is a little bit even thicker than the ditch pick, but yeah. So I'm gonna have Mr. Cahill. Oh, all right. Well, we'll put that. I will get that later. I'm gonna have Cahill on the show, Mike Cahill on the show. He was so fun to talk to and just talk about Bowies. And a cool thing about being down there in Texas at the Texas Custom Knife Show was just hanging out with knife people and hanging out with Texans. I don't know, like I'm so used to the Northeast, New York City, where I spent so much time, and then Philadelphia before that, and then Ohio and DC. It's so cool for me to talk to people who live in Texas, near like Cut and Shoot. What a cool name for a town. Like it just seemed, I don't know, elevated in a way, but not in a pretentious way. It seemed elevated in just a sort of freedom way. And maybe I'm idealizing it because I don't know it well enough, and maybe insidious creep has reached everywhere, and Texas is no exception, but it feels like it is. Anyway, all right. Blade Ogre says, yeah, it is a 2022 Remington bullet knife by GEC. It's on my feed, the fifth picture down. Oh, okay. All right. I'll have to check that out. By GEC. Anything by GEC, yes. But I haven't gotten anything from them probably since that knife, probably since 2020. It's been some years. I hope they're still kicking ass and taking names. I hope their stuff is still as awesome as it ever was. I know that they had to up their capacity and maybe use some more modern tools. Heaven forbid. But what does that matter? No, I don't think so. I think Rembrandt would use HD video if he was around today. Craig Vincent says, I just checked, and actually I do have one slip joint. I just had bought it earlier in my collecting. I don't think it's an award winner. It's a Queen Big Chief. That's cool to have a Queen, because Queen has a speckled and interesting past. Right now they're do I have no, my Queen is upstairs. Right now they're Chinese made. They were American made for a while. They OEM'd for some people, and then they were OEM'd by some people. and I think Bill Howard worked for Queen at some point. I don't know. My history is not exactly there, but Byron Kennedy said, but for having a one slip joint, that sounds cool, especially Big Chief. Byron Kennedy says, Craig Vincent, FYI, the Big Chief is now made by Cooper Cutlery out of Winchester, Ohio, and most of Queen's assets in 2019. Oh, I didn't know that. Cooper Cutlery. Why have we not heard of Cooper Cutlery? We should be hearing more from them. Winchester, Ohio. I love Ohio. Huh. Well, that's interesting. All right, here's another one I got to show you. This is the creme de la creme. This is the one I'm probably the most excited about. Yes, it's the Cortada. The Cortada, the knife designed by Doug Marcaida. Doug Marcaida is going to be coming on the show soon, and on that show, we are going to show the footage of me not sparring with Doug Marcaida, but as he put it, jamming with him and just kind of improvising and doing some drills and stuff with him. It was so cool, so fun. He's a very very great guy, very, very nice guy, and really, really extremely skilled and experienced at Kali. That is for damn sure. And it was my pleasure to meet him and to do all that stuff with him. And it was my pleasure to win this knife in a silent auction to benefit the Red Wings Foundation for veterans. This knife, this is why I have the Gnunting out. So here, take. Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh, you know that. I'm gonna try and soak up the coffee there. Okay, so what I was gonna show you. God damn, I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen, and let these paper towels soak it up, and let my Nova One get dry. All right, so what I was gonna show you is that the Cortada here is designed after the Gnunting. And the Gnunting, so I'll put that down. Since the Gnunting is big, I'll show that here. That's this knife here. This is a sword famous in the southern Philippines, used by the Special Marines, the Special Filipino Marines, and Doug Marcaida trained them in a lot of these arts. And he loves this sword, and that sickle shape is very efficient for cutting. He wanted to make sort of a knife version of it, and they do in the Philippines have sort of knife versions of this. One of them is called the Hagibis. It's sort of a small Gnunting, but he wanted to make a couple of changes, and so on his, he made it a more gradual, like Warncliffe-like slope with a sharper point. Better for thrusting. He also wanted to make that swedge such that you could sharpen it. You know, it would be a pretty oblique edge anyway, but you could sharpen it if you wanted to. But you get a lot of thrusting power out of that. And then on top, you have this swale here with jimping. And I've determined that it's less about jimping, because you're probably not going to use this knife with your thumb up there anyway. You're probably going to use this in a full grip because it's a biggish knife. And I think that is there. It's very aggressive. It doesn't feel good on the thumbs. I think it's there if you're using this in a reverse grip for trapping. That's like grabbing your opponent's arm and using those teeth on that curve to dig into their arm as you go on to execute other things. They're trapping in Filipino martial arts and Filipino knife fighting in Kali is a transitional move at best. So it's incidental. You're not going for a trap, but if you get a trap, you use it briefly to reposition your person before you do something else, because nothing is static and you're not going to grab someone and hold their arm and then think about what you're going to do. It's going to be to get their arm out of the way or whatever it is, cause pain, because that jimping is pretty sharp. That would cause pain. They're not serrations, but they are not kind on the skin. So I think they're for grabbing and pulling and trapping, personally. The handle itself is beautiful. It's very much like a Jason Knight kukri, like the MK Ultra, and it's got that flare, the bird's beak that holds it in the hand, and then the extension and the flare here for bouncing off the palm on a chopping motion. He wanted something that could be used in the jungle to clear bush, but also to fight. And obviously, he's pretty much fight oriented, but he wanted it to be a good jungle tool too. These represent things he has tattooed on his arm. He's from an island culture because he was born and raised in the Philippines. He's of the warrior class. That's like a spear or arrowhead. And then these are the male and female triangle. And the male triangle has 2 slashes for his sons, and male and female. Incidentally, there's the male and female footwork, male and female triangle footwork, which you could also say is represented there, even though that wasn't his intention. All right, I got all the feet in front of me. Oh, this is a disaster. I keep dropping out here. I got my Ohio River Jack all wet with coffee. It's gonna smell great from now on. David Helka, good to have you here. That knife is cool. Yeah, I agree, man. It is totally sweet. And they make a smaller version of that, which I definitely would not mind having. I'm taking this off because it's also coffee soaked and starting to get cold. Great. Used to love that shirt. Craig Vincent. So Queen could be making a comeback. I'm such a trendsetter. Yeah, well, yeah, if you look at the latest Smoky Mountain Knife Works catalog, they have 2 different lines that they're selling of Queen knives. I have one from maybe 2 years ago, and it's definitely a Chinese production, but it's a nice knife. Craig Vincent, probably because Smoky Mountain Knife Works also bought the licensing rights of the Queen brand and now releases new Queen models made overseas. Byron's the one. Thank you, sir. Yeah, anecdotally, I know that's the case, but Byron's done his research. I appreciate that. I'll have the last of the coffee. Okay, I do have one more thing. This was an acquisition from the Texas Custom Knife Show. Guest Jake Sewell of Brave Hawk Forge. I bought one of his tomahawks. They are so sweet. Hang on, before I get to that, I just want to make sure that the Ohio River Jack is okay. Yeah, I think it's okay. The coffee will only make the scales look richer and nicer. Okay. Okay, where is it? Oh, I put it over here. Here it is. Look at this. So this is the Francesca Tomahawk by Jake Sewell and Brave Hawk Forge. Big players at the Texas Custom Knife Show, organizer, and he makes really cool tomahawks. He was selling a bunch of them there, and actually I ordered 2. He has small tomahawks. I ordered one for each daughter, and actually my older daughter is probably a little small for her, but still. Anyway, they're cool. They're totally functional tomahawks, just of a smaller stature. But this one is his favorite model, and it's called the Francesca, and it's got this curve here, and it's a Franciscan style tomahawk, I believe that's what they called it. And unlike his other, you can see the curve better on this side. Unlike his other tomahawk heads that come straight across, this one has this sort of lurid feminine curve, and it actually makes for a very good throwing knife. It's got the beard, or I mean, throwing tomahawk. It's got the beard and the nice curved 4-inch blade, but also this point up front is very prone to sticking. And then it's got this great teardrop shaped haft. So there's like almost a sharp ridge on the front. I don't want to say totally sharp, but it's like it's a definite ridge there. And then it's a tapering handle. So it's not, the head is not hung on top like this Wingard wearables where it fits on the top and then is wedged in there with a couple of cross wooden wedges pounded in. This one slides up the shaft and is friction fit at the end. And so during the tomahawk throwing, or when you would observe the tomahawk throwing, there he would frequently pick these up and then hit them here to reset the blade and make sure it was or the axe head, make sure it was strongly at the end. I like it. I'm not gonna throw it. Not this one anyway. And this one, to me, first of all, it's a collector because I've interviewed this guy and I like from people I've interviewed. But also to me, this is this kind of tomahawk, and I guess you would throw it. I would throw it if I had to, but I like it. I like the idea of that paired up with, say, the cortada, or paired up with a Bowie knife. This cortada feels so good in hand, I gotta say. And unfortunately, they only made 500 of them. This is 391 of 500, and of course, designed by Doug Marcaida, made in Italy by Fox Knives, and distributed by RussianBlades.com, who must have been the ones who put the money forth to make this happen. Such a cool knife. All right. I'm gonna put it down. Wipe it down and put it down. Craig Vincent, Bob, I've been eyeballing Winkler tomahawks and knives lately. Do you have any of their stuff? I don't, sadly, but I've experienced them. And to be 100% honest, I'm not nearly as interested in their knives as I am their tomahawks. The Syok tomahawk is so cool. It would definitely be a Syok tomahawk. Niche Designs, what's up, man? Good to have you here. Score any 2023 GEC Vipers, Bob? No, I just have my 2020 Viper, or what, the last run in Purple Bone. I did not even try, sadly. I've kind of given up on GEC a little. I'm not saying I have everything I want from them. Certainly not. But I have a good collection from them, and I'm just not hovering. Though right now in this phase, I might, but I already have the 47. Crazy Abe says, just grabbed a Model 3 from American Tomahawk. Oh, nice. Really like it. That's the one that's got that's the bearded Norse looking tomahawk, right? Some hawks are pretty crazy and not very practical, but this one makes a pretty good hatchet too. Sweet. Crazy Abe, good to have you here, man. I like yours. That old world look. Yeah, it's that northeastern woodland, Iroquois. Well, yeah, northeastern woodland tomahawk thing. I like it too. I got to get good at throwing these, but not with this one here. Yeah. Well, everyone, let me know what you think. I will not be here next week. I have a great opportunity next week that I have to take up. So I will be doing that next week. We will be back the following week. That is the 30th, the 31st, or the 30th. I can't remember which hath November. I can never remember the 30 and the 31st of which month. But we'll be here the following week, we're going to be taking the week off for Thanksgiving, and then back the next week. So do join us then. Yep. I think I'm going to dip out of here. I'm really getting cold and uncomfortable from all of the coffee I just spilled in my lap, which was at first scalding, and luckily I have my children, and now it's freezing. And luckily I have my children. But be sure to shop with us on Knives Ship Free. I know that you have watched the supplemental and you've seen that delicious liner, the new liner every week where Jim reads off the new knives from Knives Ship Free, and we show those beautiful pictures. So if you have anything you want to get, definitely go through that. G-Man, thanks for all you guys do. It's our pleasure, man. G-Man, thank you for coming and joining us. Craig Vincent, I can actually throw tomahawk and hatchets. I used to teach the customers how to throw it. My friends next week, not this next week, but the week after that, I'll be back at it. And that's that for the travel and the not being here for a while. Northern Knives, happy Turkey Day, Jim, Bob, and all you junkies. Thank you. Happy Turkey Day to you too, sir. Greatly appreciated. 5-Door, thanks, Bob, Jim. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to you, 5-Door. It's one of my favorite holidays. Byron Kennedy, thanks, Bob, Jim, junkies. Thanks for the Tucson. My pleasure. Thank you for the support of the show. This will be coming out to you tomorrow. Everyone have a good Thanksgiving. See you in 2 weeks. Byron, I will see you in 2 weeks, sir. Crazy Abe, good night. Good to have you here, Crazy Abe, and hope to see you in 2 weeks. Chris, always a pleasure. Thanks for the awesome show, Bob and Jim. Night all. Have a great weekend. You have a great weekend too, man. Never Enough Knives, 007. Great Thanksgiving, junkies. You have a good Thanksgiving too. Craig Vincent, happy holiday, Bob. Happy holiday to you, good sir. All right, for Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.